Did you know that around $60 billion in vehicle maintenance goes underperformed annually? Interesting. Anyway, I was at a local fleet conference recently, more specifically FlagFA, and it got me thinking about community, specifically within the fleet community. On government fleet, we've talked a lot about joining industry associations and all of the benefits that come with that. And probably most of you, if you're not in an association, you've attended the conferences and you've been connected through that kind of network somehow. But I know not everybody is because it's still a topic that comes up. And I think even if you're somebody that has been a part of an association, maybe you're not as involved as you'd like to be, or you haven't found those connections. And so I was thinking about the benefits and also the ways that you can just utilize that community around you and also show that it's not a scary place. I know for myself, when I first became a part of this fleet community, albeit on the editorial side and covering those stories as more of an outsider looking in, I would say, I was talking to so many people who had been in this industry for years and were so experienced and knew everybody else and thought, "Oh my goodness, well, how am I even going to be able to talk to these people?" But soon quickly realized after talking to multiple people and also, of course, going to conferences and events that it is so welcoming. And one thing that I've been told before is that especially the government fleet community feels very much like a family, a very large and extended family, but it is. I first want to talk about just some of the reasons why you should just be in an association or part of some kind of organization that's fleet related, of course. There's, for one, the community aspect. It doesn't matter what period of life you're in, it's important to have that community. And you can read it in my article linked below. But one of the fleet managers was talking about just the importance of having somebody to call up at a moment's notice and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this issue. I don't know how to overcome this challenge," whatever it may be. And just having somebody that you can trust on the other end. And maybe they haven't gone through the same thing as you are going through, but they have for sure gone through challenges that are just as challenging. And I think it also brings a sense of peace knowing that there is somebody there who's able to pick up. Secondly, one of the other things is just having that education around you. And as somebody who was a newcomer to all of this, I learned by talking to all of you, the experts in this. And I think as somebody who is maybe getting into the industry, or maybe you have and you're just wanting to up your knowledge base, having that core group of people around you is super key. And of course, going to the industry events is a really great place to further that because you've got everybody in one place being able to just talk and mingle and collaborate on things. You could take, for example, and I'll toot our horn a little bit at GFX, we have our roundtables that we do on the final day of the main event where we just have fleet leaders sit down and we throw out some key core challenges and issues, things that everybody for the most part is aware of and is dealing with, and let everybody problem solve and come up with solutions. And that's of course within the conference space, but you can do that in a lot of other spaces where it's just meeting up outside of those opportunities. But that's kind of the basics of it, just getting into it. It's a reminder. And again, it's not something that I think anybody is unaware of. It's just me looking in on what I've seen as something that's very valuable. And I'm going to use an example of my own and relate it to the associations and organizations. So I have a license plate cover on the front of my car, and I wanted to switch it out. I had an old one, and where I live, it's very sunny. And if you live in a place where you get a lot of sun, you realize that everything starts to fade out very, very quickly. And I had these beautiful red colors and it turned pink. And I thought, you know what? It's time for an update. So I got a new license plate cover. I was very excited, got it in the mail. Realized when I got it that the holes did not line up with the screws. And so I thought, okay, well, I will unscrew everything. And I had talked to somebody who had actually looked at it before, and they said, "Well, I already looked at it. It actually needs to be drilled through. You don't need to unscrew anything. And I thought, okay, well, I'll take a look. And I looked at it and I said, oh, no, you just unscrew and you pop it in. Great. It's easy. Well, I should have waited and talked to that person maybe a second or two longer because I ended up unscrewing everything. I lost a screw. And by the time I got done, I realized that the license plate cover did, in fact, not fit. And you needed to just drill through the cover. And I didn't need to unscrew everything. So I think that was part of the reason that I decided to talk about just the community and the associations in this video is because just having that one person to talk to and also reciprocating in a way that creates conversation. Because if I had just talked to them a little bit more and said, okay, can you explain what it is? Not just said, oh, no, I can just unscrew everything and it'll fit, it'll work, it'll happen. I probably could have saved myself, a couple minutes. It wasn't a tedious task or anything, but just one of those where you're going, oh, well, that was kind of silly. Again, conversations are great, and I think that's one of the biggest things for just being a part of whatever fleet community it is that you have. So I know we have so many, local and regionalized communities, but maybe it's something on a bigger focus. But I really encourage all of you to be a part of something and somehow, and don't ever be afraid to call other fleet managers up, be it somebody who is retired and who's out of the industry, but who's still around and who still, wants to talk to people and provide their advice. So I think it's just such a great thing to have. It's a very special community. If you haven't already, go check out some of the articles that I've linked in the comments about our associations, about what they offer, and some of just the amazing people who are a part of them and just everything they do. I know that there is a lot happening in the world right now, and you guys are being faced with more than enough challenges as is. So this is the time to really dig into that community around you and just have that support. And at the end of the day, maybe just have somebody to laugh with about some of the crazy things happening. So maybe just use that small example of the license plate cover to reach out to that person you haven't in a while and say, yeah, I am stumped at this issue. Let's just talk about it if you don't mind, because I'm sure you guys will have a great conversation and maybe you'll even come up with some solutions for other things that you didn't even realize you needed a solution to. In the meantime, know that your work is incredibly valued. And if there's an issue or a topic or something that you are working through with your fleet on, then let me know. We want to cover all those different challenges and share it to our viewers and readers so that maybe they can find some inspiration or an answer to their own problems. Until then, have a great day and we'll see you in the next video.